Nigerian Bar Association has announced the relocation of its 2025 annual general conference, formerly scheduled to hold in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, but will now be held in Enugu due to the recent declaration of emergency rule in Rivers State. The association stated that while there was a widespread excitement over Port Harcourt being the host city for the 2024 conference, is military in nature and his actions undermine democracy. Currently, Rivers State is being governed by a retired military officer appointed as the sole administrator who operates with a grand command-style approach that disregards constitutional provisions, court decision, and pending litigation. Okay, I'm going to start with you, Barrister Damsey, due to your operating style, which is a legal practitioner. I'd love to get your thoughts on this. I'm sure you would have actually loved to be in this conference if it was held in Rivers State. And considering the fact that it's been moved to Enugu instead of Rivers State due to the emergency rule going on, we know that Rivers State has literally not been in a violent situation.
Fortunately, I have also registered to participate in the AGC coming up, that was to come up in Port Harcourt, and also lots of colleagues all over the country have, booked their hotel accommodations here in Rivers State. It's quite an unfortunate situation that finally the AGC is being moved to Enugu. It's very unfortunate, and I can assure you that Rivers State will be losing a fortune. Because imagine we are over 300,000 lawyers all over Nigeria converges in Port Harcourt. You see, it will boost our revenue. It will boost, it will showcase Port Harcourt. It will showcase our tourism nature. It will showcase how peaceful Rivers State is. In fact, it's a program that ordinarily would have, shown Rivers State on the right track in the country, but unfortunately things turned out the way it has happened, and the AGC is being moved to Enugu. That is to say, all the goodies that the AGC would have come with to Rivers State, it's now being moved to Enugu. I stand with the NBA in its entirety in that decision, because the Nigerian Bar Association, being a group of lawyers, an association where all lawyers subscribe to. We believe in our rules of professional conduct. We believe in all other proclamations and laws guiding lawyers in Nigeria. So since the association have taken a stand, we have perused the position of the law, and we stand with the NBA. Whatever the NBA says, will abide by that. We are all going to Enugu for our conference.
Thank you on your thoughts on that. I'd love to get your thoughts, Mr. George, what you make of this, please.
Well, I'll look at it from the economic standpoint. As an economist, distinguished lawyer, has given us some perspective. I think it's a big loss for Rivers State in terms of our economy, because this is going to bring revenue to the states. We have a lot of people in the informal sector that would benefit from this conference. If it would have taken place from the airports to the hotel to the conference venue. People will be selling their wares. The people operating taxis, that will transportation, to those who will be in the hospitality sector, and those who will be showcasing, as our distinguished lawyer said, our cultural items and everything that we can showcase, and our cultural and economy, our informal economy, everything. So Rivers State is going to be a big loss, because this conference will really help. And there are many families that, people that are employed, that are working in the hotels, and a lot of revenue for those hotels, businesses. So those people will not make that profit, they will not make that money, they will not make that revenue. And when these businesses make profits, they pay tax to the government. So the more profit they make, the more tax they pay, the more internally generated revenue the states mop up. So in terms of adding to our internally generated revenue, this is a loss.
Okay.
In terms of our cultural, social, political, it's a loss. In terms of our diplomacy, because hosting a national body that is highly respected in your state projects your state in the lights of your diplomatic power, political power. It becomes like a pilgrimage center for lawyers across the country. So I think it's a loss, and it's quite unfortunate. However, it will be taking place now in Enugu, and I very much believe that to be a successful one. And it is a reminder and a call for all of us that we tend to achieve more when we live in peace, when we live in harmony. We tend to achieve more. As a state, we tend to achieve more. As a country, we tend to achieve more.
Okay, thank you on that, Mr. Judge. Barrister Danzi, I didn't want to cut you short when you made a statement that at the time the president called for the emergency rule in Rivers State, that NBA actually, criticized or literally called to the attention of the president to probably make a recall on it. Do we have to see that it's actually an act of retaliation? Because like I stated from the beginning, there's no issue of violence going on in the country, aside the fact that the sole administrator has actually decided to appoint 23 sole administrators in the local government councils, which is, by the way, there is no issue for alarm at the moment. Is there any, do you said you agree with that instance? Do you still agree with that fact that, because we're looking at it, like I stated, there's no issue in the states at the moment. And then I stated, is this an act of a retaliation because the president did not listen? According to the House of Assembly, they said he followed the 2305 Constitution, that was what he worked on before he declared a state of emergency in the country. But some legal practitioners have actually come to fault it and say that it is not in the Constitution for a sitting president to suspend a sitting governor of a state. I just want to get your thoughts if this is an act of a retaliation, because secondly, looking at the fact that there's no any issue of violence, any activity of violence, aside the fact that people are literally not living in that spirit of happiness. Some people are not really, some would say it's deserted right now. I want to get your thoughts on that, please.
Okay, thank you very much. I will start by reacting that the decision of NBA to move the AGC to Enugu is not an act of retaliation on the decision of the president to declare a state of emergency in Rivers State. NBA made its stance very clear from the beginning that the declaration that led to the suspension of the governor and other elected officials is unconstitutional.
Okay.
And I remember in that call, they advised the president to reverse its stance. You understand? NBA cannot support a state where undemocratic principles and unconstitutional activities have taken place, or it's about taking place, or it's ongoing. You don't expect the Nigerian Bar Association, which is highly revered at that level, to allow, like in the words of the NBA chairman, a retired military officer that has a command style, to address the NBA, where we have an elected governor, even though there were disagreements in the state that led to where we are today. But at least I still maintain that the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is supreme, and no authority or person is bigger than the Constitution.
How about the appointment of the sole administrator? Was that also an act of, is that part of the Constitution or unconstitutional?
The appointment of the sole administrator, I have maintained this before, and I'm going to reiterate it again, that the president does not have the powers to suspend an elected governor and elected officials of a state government, okay, and appoint a sole administrator. Okay. Even though the president possesses the power to declare emergency in Rivers State or any state thereof. But the Constitution didn't give him the powers to go ahead, suspend an elected government. We shouldn't forget that the governor is in a social and electoral contract with the electorates.
Okay.
And he has a term of an oath of office that is for a term certain. So nothing can cut short that term as sworn in the oath of office, unless by death, by resignation or incapacitation, or by impeachment. Anything outside these four positions, nothing could be able to touch the office of the governor or its term until the 4-year term.
Okay, thank you on that still. I'll come back to you, Mr. Judge. You made mention, or you were trying to come from the perspective of an economist, you know, the effects it would have in the economy, which is actually fantastic, because like both of you have stated rightly, just from the airports down to the hospitality sector to individuals that will be involved, you know, in the whole conference that will, you know, hold in Rivers State, it's literally going to be cut short because of that. And let's look at the part of Rivers State as an oil producing state. And we know that Rivers State generates about 30% of the country's economy. If I'm wrong, you're a legal practitioner, you can prove me wrong still. Rivers State is one of the country that is an oil producing state, and one of the most recognized states because of investors, tourists, most of the foreign companies, although some of them are literally leaving the country due to the whole situation, insecurity, and other reasons that they might have. The ones already here, if this decision can be taken by the Nigerian Bar Association, the ones that are already here, how do you think they will perceive Rivers State? Do we have to look at it that, added to the fact of the Japa situation, are we supposed to feel that something might start happening, that investors might start leaving literally sooner or later, or as it stands, that some people don't want to have anything serious to do in River State? Are the investors actually going to get affected in this instance at the moment due to the whole emergency rule in River State?
Well, it's a very interesting question. Even before the emergency rule, when you have political crisis, it affects business and investment, because you need to have the right political climate and strong institutions to protect investments. That's where the rule of law comes in, because if someone is investing in your state, for example, he wants to be assured of the protection of his assets,
okay,
and the protection of his investment. So when you look at what we call the business perception, or the perception of business, or the security perception, political perception, it's quite low, even before the emergency declaration. Many factors, because Rivers State has always been in the news for political crisis. It's a heated political state. So it is affecting business. Beyond the financial aspect in terms of investment is the psychological aspect that a lot of people are not putting into consideration.
Okay.
Because let's take, for example, you are an investor that is based in Europe and you want to invest. The oil and gas industry is so broad, but it's not just the oil and gas industry that we have in Rivers State. We have other industries. We have tourism. We have, look at our mangrove. We have so much, even we are not tapping from the oil and gas industry. Hospitality, music, entertainment, culture, arts. So much of the creative economy that is not fully tapped into. We have a lot of young people that are interested in tech, doing wonders with the little resources they have, with technology. Walk the streets, drive around the streets, see painters, designers, artists showcasing their creative works that will contribute to our creative economy, and we improve our economy, our growth, strengthen businesses and all that. So, beyond the emergency rule, before now, we have been experiencing this low confidence in terms of our business investments.
So that means it's going to double. The effects will double more than it's been because of the whole emergency.
Yes, because many, it's not rocket science. Many businesses are migrating. Many investors are leaving. Why? It's not rocket science. If you take a critical look, an inquiry, just like Adam Smith wrote a book, An Inquiry into the Causes of Wealth of Nations. I have the book in my library. I read it, written hundreds of years ago. If you take a critical look at why our business is living, one is this political climate, the heated political climate, and a lot of demarketing of the states. I have friends that stay in other states. In fact, I have friends that post all kind of things happening in Rivers State. I have to correct one of them. I'm in Rivers State. Such is not happening. So the demarketing of the state, the brand. You see, every state is a brand. There is a brand of a state.
True.
And there is a perception. A business or a potential investor in London is not in Rivers State. You have to rely on news or what he reads from social media and all that. If the perception of doing business is that of a volatile, heated political climate, it discourages investment in that state because of the branding of the state. So it is not helping our brand as a state for business. The political crisis is not helping our brand as a state to grow. So if we can address these underlying issues, we can grow our business and investments in the States.
Thank you.